When I lost my job, I thought the worst part would be the silence that followed. The kind of silence that eats through the walls of a house, turning laughter into ghosts and warm meals into obligations. But nothing prepared me for the night my wife looked across the table, wine glass in hand, and announced, "From now on, we're splitting everything 50-50. I'm only responsible for myself." I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just stared at her, calm and hollow, and said, "Okay." It wasn't the words themselves that tore me apart. It was the tone. Detached, cold, as if I wasn't her husband but a roommate who'd failed to pay rent. This was the same woman who once kissed me on rainy mornings, whispered that I was her world, and curled up against me as if my heartbeat was her favorite lullaby. And now, she was drawing borders. The weeks that followed blurred together. She buried herself in work, late nights at the office, charity galas and business trips. I stayed home, sending resumes into the void, the cursor blinking back at me like it was mocking my worth. I cooked, I cleaned, I folded her silk blouses, still scented with perfume I didn't recognize anymore. Every evening she returned more polished, more untouchable, carrying an invisible distance I couldn't bridge. One night I found myself in a dim bar near downtown, nursing a whiskey I couldn't afford. That's where I met Claire. She wasn't glamorous. She didn't wear diamonds or carry herself like she owned the world. She was a waitress, hair tied messily, tired eyes that somehow still held a spark of kindness. When she noticed me staring into my drink, she asked softly, "Rough day?" Something in her tone, gentle, unassuming, broke the dam inside me. I laughed, I vented, I told her about my job loss, about my wife's sudden detachment. She listened. Really listened. Not once did she check her phone or glance away. Her attention felt like sunlight on a man who'd been shivering in shadows. Over the next weeks, I kept finding excuses to see her. Sometimes I lingered at the bar. Sometimes I passed by just to catch a glimpse of her smile. She never pushed, never pried, but she noticed things. How my shoulders slumped, how my voice cracked when I said I was fine, and she made me feel seen, in a way my own wife hadn't in months. The first time it happened, it wasn't planned. Rain poured outside, thunder rattling the windows of the bar as closing time approached. Claire offered me coffee, and we ended up talking in the empty booth long after chairs were stacked. When she reached across the table, touching my hand gently, I didn't pull away. My chest tightened, not with guilt, but with relief. Later, in her small apartment, the world outside blurred. Her touch wasn't wild or desperate, it was healing. She kissed me like I was worth something, like I wasn't a burden to be split into halves. And when I held her, I felt whole for the first time in months. But every affair is painted with guilt, and mine was no exception. I would return home to my wife's silent, gleaming world of glass and steel, her eyes flicking over me as if checking inventory. I wanted to confess, to tell her I'd found comfort in someone else's arms. But part of me wondered if she would even care. Perhaps she already knew. Perhaps she had someone too. One night, while she scrolled through her phone in bed, I asked, "Do you still love me?" She didn't look up. "Love isn't enough, you know." That was her answer. Not yes, not no, just a dismissal. And in that moment, I realized she had left me long before I left her. The affair with Claire wasn't about lust. It was about survival. She gave me back pieces of myself that had been stripped away. Laughter, touch, warmth, the reminder that I mattered. With her, I wasn't a failure. I was a man who could still be wanted, still be cherished. But the weight of secrets is heavy, and eventually, it cracked me open. One morning, over untouched coffee, I told my wife everything. About Claire. About the nights I spent in someone else's arms. About how lonely I'd been in my own home. She stared at me, emotionless. And then she laughed. Not bitterly, not angrily, just a cold, empty laugh. "I was waiting for this. Do what you want. We're done anyway." There it was. The truth hidden behind her indifference. She hadn't split things 50-50 because she believed in fairness. She had done it because she was preparing to leave me behind. My confession didn't break her heart. It only gave her permission to stop pretending. I walked out of that house with nothing but a suitcase. No rage, no tears. Just the quiet acceptance that the life I thought I had was already gone. Now, when I wake beside Claire in her modest apartment, I still feel the ache of betrayal. Not just mine against my wife, but hers against the vows we once made. Yet I also feel something else, hope. A fragile, trembling hope that even from the ruins of a marriage, a man can find the courage to live again. Because sometimes cheating isn't born from passion. Sometimes it's born from hunger. The kind of hunger that comes from being starved of love in the very place it should have lived forever.